What if I told you the 1970s gave us some of the most outlandish Billboard Hot 100 number ones and top 20 oddities ever? From disco beats mimicking farm animals to satirical jabs at political chaos, these tracks defined a decade of pure quirkiness. How did a quacking disco duck and a dead skunk score top 20 hits? Stick around as we uncover the stories behind the 10 strangest one-hit wonders from the 1970s.
Look at me, I'm the disco duck.
Let's kick things off with a song that's as bizarre as it gets. Rick Dees' Disco Duck soared to number 1 on October 16, 1976, holding the top spot for a single week and sticking in the Billboard Top 10 for 10. Picture the disco fever of the mid-70s with mirror balls spinning everywhere. And a Memphis DJ decides to mock it all with a track about a duck dancing at a party, quacking its way through funky beats. Dees wrote this oddball song in just one day, but his own radio station, WMPS, banned it due to a conflict of interest. They even briefly fired him for mentioning it on air. Could something this wacky survive without local radio support? It seemed doomed, yet it defied the odds. Disco Duck rode the disco wave perfectly. Those orchestral beats mixed with absurd quacking vocals got everyone dancing. Fun fact, Dees couldn't find anyone else to sing it, so he did it himself. The result? Over 4 million copies sold and a 1977 People's Choice Award for Favorite New Song. How does a joke like this dominate the charts? Its playful jab at disco culture hit the 1970s mood just right, turning silliness into a massive hit. Stick around, another quirky story awaits with a completely different kind of charm. But before that, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's shift gears to a tune that turned a mundane moment into pure hilarity. Mary Wilson's Telephone Man from 1977 had listeners cracking up with its flirty, cheeky lyrics. Picture a woman giggling over a phone repairman's visit, spinning their chat into a playful song full of clever wordplay. Every line hints at innocent fun, with just enough of a wink to keep you grinning. With suggestive lyrics like those, could it even slip past those strict radio censors of the time? Airplay was no guarantee back then, but Wilson's sweet, innocent tone and authentic giggles made the double entendres feel charming, not crude. That delivery helped it peak at number 18 on the Billboard Hot 100 and hit number 6 in the UK. The track was recorded for just $228, and the first take, complete with Wilson's real laughter, became the version everyone loved. It earned a gold record on both sides of the pond, selling over 1 million copies in the US and UK combined. Its lighthearted vibe captured a simpler era when flirtation felt harmless and fun. That playful spirit of the 1970s really connected with so many. Speaking of hidden quirks, have you ever tucked away a guilty pleasure? Let's explore a song that pokes fun at just that. Let's talk about a tune that uncovers a sneaky little habit we've all wrestled with.
Back in glorious expectation of a genuine junk food high.
Larry Gross's Junk Food Junkie from 1976 nailed the hypocrisy of health nuts with a laugh-out-loud twist. Back in the 1970s, the health food craze was everywhere. Organic grains and fresh veggies were the talk of the town as folks rejected processed snacks. Yet Gross's song spills the secret. By day, he's all about healthy eating, but by night, he's scarfing down Twinkies and Big Macs. Could a track poking fun at the organic movement really strike a chord with its own fans? It felt like a gamble to mock such a trendy lifestyle, but it worked. The sharp satire rang true for so many, with lyrics mixing nods to John Keats and jabs at Colonel Sanders for a hilarious contrast. It peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 and hung around for 15 weeks, showing its staying power. Fun fact, Gross recorded this live at McCabe's guitar shop, never imagining it'd be a single until it took off. His record label feared junk food brands might complain, but most reactions were positive. Even the Twinkies creator loved the shout-out. The song captured the universal tug-of-war with secret cravings. In a decade obsessed with wellness, it gave everyone permission to chuckle at their slip-ups. Stay tuned in for another oddball hit that turns an everyday nuisance into pure comedy. Let's roll right into a track that takes an annoying roadside mishap and spins it into pure gold. Loudon Wainwright III's Dead Skunk from 1972 is the epitome of 1970s weirdness. Imagine cruising along a quiet country road only to spot a skunk squashed flat in the middle of the lane. Instead of driving on, Wainwright turns this gross encounter into a catchy folk tune. It's not deep or symbolic, just a blunt tale of a stinky critter you can't escape. In an era when folk music was all about heavy topics, like war or social change, could a song this literal about a smelly animal actually make waves? It seemed like a long shot against such serious competition. Yet its bold simplicity hooked listeners, hitting number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 8 in Canada, and number 12 in Australia. That global reach showed its odd charm wasn't just a fluke. Wainwright whipped up this song in a mere 15 minutes, adding to its spontaneous appeal. He kept it real, saying, "Well, okay, but for me it was just about a dead skunk lying there in the highway." It's his only charting hit, despite a long career. That knack for finding humor in the everyday really clicked with the 1970s vibe. People loved laughing at life's little quirks. Stick around. Up next, we've got a tune that plays with your expectations in the funniest way. Let's turn to a song that sneaks up on you with its sly humor. Benny Bell's Shaving Cream, first released in 1946, didn't hit the charts until its 1975 reissue, climbing to number 30 on the Billboard Hot 100. It's a track that plays with your head in the funniest way. Picture verses that build up to what sounds like a naughty word, only to swerve at the last moment to something clean like shaving cream. That mind rhyme technique teases you with a fake punchline, keeping every line fresh and surprising. Could a tune from the vaudeville days really catch on in the rockin' 1970s? It seemed unlikely against the era's bold new sounds. Yet, here's why it clicked. Dr. Demento's radio show, a haven for quirky novelty hits, introduced it to a crowd hungry for offbeat laughs, giving this old gem a second life. Add to that, New York DJ Bruce Morrow pushed it hard, making it WNBC's most requested record in late 1974. Bell, long out of the spotlight, saw his career revived thanks to this support. That clever wordplay struck a chord with a decade that loved witty, rebellious humor without going too far. Up next, we've got a track that channels a different kind of defiance with raw, youthful energy. Let's jump into a track that bottled the frustration of youth with biting humor. Cheech and Chong's Earache My Eye from 1974 turned teen rebellion into a chart-topping riot. Picture a comedy skit set to a glam rock beat, where Tommy Chong plays a defiant kid dreaming of stardom, clashing with Cheech Marin as both a frustrated dad and the over-the-top Alice Bowie. That sharp contrast captures the raw tension between generations in the 1970s. Would parents and authorities let something this edgy slide? Not a chance. Many saw it as a terrible influence, with protests from parents, teachers, and clergy labeling it a bad example for kids. It faced bans in 20 states, and some even threatened radio station boycotts. That backlash reflected the era's deep fear of youth culture spiraling out of control. Yet it soared anyway. It hit number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100, speaking directly to teens who felt misunderstood. That iconic fuzz guitar riff packs so much punch, even Rush covered it live. It later popped up in Cheech and Chong's movie Up in Smoke, cementing its cult status. How did something so controversial resonate so widely? It gave voice to the 1970s clash of freedom versus rules. Next, let's explore a song that captures a completely different kind of wild behavior from that decade. Let's shift to a track that took a fleeting, outrageous trend and ran with it, literally. Ray Stevens' The Streak from 1974 turned the streaking craze into a #1 hit in the US, UK, Canada, and New Zealand. Picture the 1970s when running naked in public became a bizarre fad for shock or just a few laughs. Stevens spun this into a comedic gem, crafting a song like a news report with a witness yelling, "Don't look, Ethel!" as streakers zip by, punctuated by a goofy siren whistle for extra chaos. Could Stevens' take stand out with dozens of other streaking songs floating around at the time? It wasn't guaranteed, with so many artists jumping on the bandwagon. Yet his version became the definitive hit, selling over 5 million copies. Here's why it clicked. Perfect timing. Released just days before the 46th Academy Awards, it got a massive boost when a real streaker dashed across the Oscars stage on live TV, giving it free publicity that tied it to a huge cultural moment. Fun fact, that lucky break made the line, "Don't look, Ethel," stick in everyone's mind as the ultimate streaking anthem. It captured the 1970s love for silly, carefree fun, letting folks laugh at society's wild side. Stick around. Next, we're looking at a tune that pokes fun at something far more serious with a clever twist.
All uptight. Well then, Senator, why didn't you resign immediately?
Let's shift to a track that transforms political drama into a musical punchline. Convention 72 by the delegates took the heated 1972 presidential election and spun it into pure satire. Imagine the Nixon-McGovern showdown dominating every headline with unrelenting tension. This song, a break-in record, uses snippets of hit tunes to answer fake reporter questions, making figures like Richard Nixon and Henry Kissinger respond through cleverly chosen song clips. It's a brilliant mix of politics and pop that'll make you chuckle. Would a humorous spin on such a charged election even cut through the noise? With real crises like Watergate brewing, it seemed risky for a novelty track to gain traction. Yet it worked, peaking at #8 on the Billboard chart on November 18, 1972. It landed right during campaign fever. That spot-on timing, paired with sharp satire, hooked listeners craving a break from the intensity. DJ Bob DiCarlo nailed impressions of reporters like Walter Cronkite as Walter Klondike and Chet Huntley as Sidney Bruntley, adding a layer of comedic authenticity. Even more impressive, this was crafted with manual reel-to-reel splicing long before digital sampling, showcasing real 1970s ingenuity. How did mixing serious politics with playful music connect so deeply? It gave folks a lighthearted escape, proving the decade could laugh at even the heaviest topics. Let's move on. Our next oddity brings a whole different kind of bite to the charts. Let's sink our teeth into a track that turned pure terror into a laughing matter.
Local Sheriff Brody, the shark will be back for lunch.
Goodman plays a reporter interviewing the fearsome shark dubbed Mr. Jaws, and characters like Brody and Quint. Their replies? Clever snippets of 1975's hit songs, making the dialogue hilariously unexpected. Could this creative sampling style swim past legal sharks and chart? Using real song clips was a gamble, with copyright trouble on the horizon. Yet, it hit #4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and #1 on Cashbox. Here's why it struck big. Released just months after the Jaws premiere, it caught the cultural wave at its peak. Fans loved the humor, like the shark seeming to answer with War's "Why Can't We Be Friends?" Fun fact, original pressings used real samples, but later ones switched to sound-alikes due to emerging copyright challenges. Still, that early version mirrored the year's music perfectly, blending movie thrills with laughs. It tapped into the 1970s knack for turning timely obsessions into clever hits. That playful spirit defined so much of the decade's oddball charm. Up next, a quirky gem takes a completely unexpected turn into history with a humorous twist.
How'd you get so funky?
Let's look at a song that mixes ancient history with a modern beat. Steve Martin's King Tut from 1978 turned the Tut Mania craze into a funky, hilarious hit. Picture the Treasures of Tutankhamun exhibit sweeping through 7 American cities from 1976 to 1979, pulling in 8 million visitors. Ancient Egyptian artifacts had everyone hooked. But Martin, the wild and crazy guy, zeroed in on the flood of t-shirts, posters, and trinkets. He mocked how a profound historic moment morphed into a commercial spectacle. Could a comedy track about a pharaoh hold its own against 1978's rock and disco giants? It seemed like a long shot, but the Saturday Night Live performance on April 22, 1978 changed everything. That pricey skit, with Martin in over-the-top Egyptian gear, dancers all around, and sax player Lou Marini bursting from a gold-painted sarcophagus for a solo, made it a cultural moment. It soared to number 17 on the Billboard Hot 100 and sold over 1 million copies. Lines like "Born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia" became instant classics for their clever wordplay. That mix of sharp satire and goofy energy captured the 1970s knack for embracing fads with a laugh. Martin showed us history could groove. Stick around as we tie together what made these quirky hits such an unforgettable part of an incredible decade. Let's wrap up this wild ride through the 1970s with a quick look back. These 10 bizarre one-hit wonders show just how unpredictable the charts could be, with novelty tracks often outshining mainstream giants. That playful, experimental spirit truly defined the decade. Which of these quirky songs brings back memories for you? Did you hear one on the radio or at a school dance? Share your story in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more musical time travel.